What does it mean to get the backstory? It means asking the hard questions and getting to the heart of what matters about your mental, spiritual, financial, and physical well-being. In my quest to find wholeness, wellness, and end the 40 years of obesity that ravaged my body, I found that it was my own stories that were keeping me trapped in processed food addiction. Once I started asking the right questions, those same stories led to brand new consciousness, mindfulness, and agency. Each month on Get the Backstory Live, we take on the tough questions so you can find the healing, hope, and transformation hidden in your story.
Welcome everybody to Get the Backstory Live. It is Tuesday night, September the 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm coming to you from my home studio right outside of Washington, D.C., and I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm your host, Michelle Petties. We are going to have a wonderful, fabulous, sexy, fun show tonight. I cannot wait till you meet my amazing guest and get all involved in this wonderful conversation that we're going to have, an important conversation that we're going to have. We're going to be talking about the intersection of being sexy and over 60. How about that? Sexy at 60 and beyond. And you know what that's important. We're going to talk about the definition of sexy. We're going to talk about what it means to be 60. We're going to talk about what it means to navigate these waters. And, there is life. And I'm here to tell you, there is life and sex after 60. It's some fun stuff going on. But without further ado, I want to introduce my panel, introduce my guests so that we can get the conversation started. And I cannot wait until you meet my first guest. I have all the details here right in front of me about her. If you're in this area, you probably already heard of her. Her name is Sharon Bullock, and she is on this show tonight because she has written a book. She has written a book, Embracing My Sexy 60s. So let's snap it up for the Sexy 60s. He's got a lot to say about that. But let me tell you a little bit about Sharon first. Miss Sharon Bullock is a wardrobe coach and stylist and color analyst with over 40 years in the beauty and fashion industry. And that beauty and fashion, that's part of the sexy part, right? She is a visionary and best-selling author of Embracing My Sexy 60s, 20 inspirational stories from phenomenal, confident, and beautiful women. In addition to all that, Sharon is a graduate of Morgan State University, a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. Do we have any Deltas out in the audience tonight? Any Deltas? Let's hear from you. Let's support your sister here. She is a co-founder and vice president of Sisters for Sisters Network, which is a nonprofit organization that empowers women. So she is in the perfect place tonight. We're all in alignment around that tonight. An elite member of Entrepreneurs and Professional Network, member of E-Women Network, member of the Women Business Owners Circle of Champions. She is an accomplished somebody, right? Women Business Network of America and Signature Entrepreneurs and Masterminds, SEMS. Sharon's passion for beauty and fashion helped her launch the opening of Metamorphosis Jewelry Designs and then Metamorphosis Wardrobe and Accessories Boutique, where she served as the owner and CEO. Sharon is also the former stylist to the world-renowned author, motivational speaker, former talk show host, Iyanla Vanzant. Sharon, let me see your face in the place. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Michelle. Oh, it's so great to meet you and so great to be here. Thank you so much.
I'm so delighted. I'm delighted that we have reconnected. That we have reconnected after meeting and knowing each other so many years ago. I love how the universe works to support that and to support it around a conversation that is so important, And so, we talk about, being sexy and being over 60. I think there's another S that we need to throw in this mix too. We'll get to it. And that's some sisterhood too. We can't do the show without talking
Gotta
about
have
that.
my sisters.
That's right.
That's
All
right.
right. So I want to bring on my next guest tonight. I'm super, super excited to bring up Miss Betty Merrill. Is an 80-something-year-old, and wait till you see her. There's no way you're going to believe it. 80-something-year-old educator with a BS in elementary education from Coppin State College, a master's in curriculum development from Loyola, with the graduate courses from Temple University and the University of Massachusetts. First, as a teacher in Baltimore City Public Schools, and later staff development trainer in Baltimore City Public Schools, Betty identified nationwide best practices and trained and supervised staff responsible for developing and demonstrating teacher techniques for inner city schools. I am so proud that she is going to be a part of this conversation because she's showing us how to do it, right? She's showing us how to do it, to keep doing it. Her entrepreneur side showed up when she first became founder and president of Elizabeth Flowers, a retail florist operating at 5 locations in the Baltimore area. There, she designed and implemented job training, placement programs in the floral industry for seniors. Love that.
Awesome.
Moving on, she was president, Human Development Institute, then administrator for Unity Law Center, coordinator of New Beginnings Youth and Family Services, O'Donnell Heights Public Housing Complexes in Baltimore City. And somewhere along the way, she found the time to become assistant pastor and later pastor of Unity, a church for all people. She's presently living in North Carolina. All right, Betty, where she is the director of operations and product development for Nanny Jack and Company LLC, which is a company specializing in services and products based on African American history. Miss Betty Merrill, welcome to the show.
So glad to be here. Hello, everybody.
Oh, Ben, you look so beautiful. Even with all this stuff going on my head, I love the short.
Well, I used to have all that stuff, but
Uh,
as I got older, I got to spend my time doing other things.
okay, wait a minute. Are we grown enough to know what those other things are? I don't
Oh,
know.
yes. To that.
We might not be grown enough. Oh, now I am so excited about our next guest, Miss Candace Camille. And she is the author of the brand Sexy, Fit, and Well. I gotta give it up to her for that. Sexy, Fit, and Well. The Wellologist, that's who Candace Camille is, gives you a strong sense that everything is about to change. With a very engaging but direct approach to life, one is left with a sense of urgency to do something now. So we got to be sexy right now. We got to be sexy in the moment. Is that what you're saying, Candace? I know you're going to answer that when I bring you up. Candace was diagnosed with cancer in her 30s, and she has been cancer-free for 30 plus years. She went to work and not only became cancer-free, but also became an advocate for overall wellness and health. Candace is the CEO of Candace Camille International LLC and founder of the Sexy, Fit, and Well movement and Plank Talk Nation. We got a champion planker that is about to join the show tonight. She is a planking world record contender and award-winning and well sought after international speaker and media personality and an Amazon best-selling author. And as amazing as all this is, she has also been featured on the Dr. Oz show and on WUSA and ION TV. As a community leader, Candace is co-founder of Girls Run, Inc., where she serves as a running and mentoring coach for young girls. We got to give it back. We got to give back to the youngsters, right? We got to bring them along. With her boundless energy, and she does have that, infectious laughter, genuine enthusiasm for life, and a body that epitomizes sexy fitting well, one cannot help but be convinced that 60 plus is indeed the new 40. Come on out here, Candy, with your 40-year-old self.
Listen, I'll take that. That's what Dr. Oz said. Dr. Oz said, when we did the test, we went on his show, right? He said, I'm 38. So I'm going to stay right there for a minute. You know, like you're talking about your organ age and what's going on the inside of you. We're so worried about what's going on the outside of us. It's the inside of us that really, really matter.
That is so true.
Anyway,
that is, and you know, and as you talk about that, Candace, here's the other thing: is that's going on the inside of us. Well, it shows up on the outside. What's happening on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside. We got to take care of the inside first. We got to take care of the inside first, and it pushes out, right? It pushes out. All right. So our next guest. We're going to bring up our next guest, and then we're going to get this conversation going because I got something to start this thing off with. Dr. Angel Brathwaite. Come on in here. Angel is a sex therapist and clinical director at A2X Clinical Consulting, LLC, and has over 15 years of clinical experience. And in her practice, she specializes in trauma, community-based interventions, person-centered care, crisis intervention, cognitive behavior therapy, behavioral therapy, and narrative therapy. I love that cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and narrative therapy. She works with adolescents, families, and individuals, and she has been supervising therapists, interns, and case managers for over 12 years. Her consulting practice is excited to announce a new specialty, sex therapy. And y'all, she's looking for new patients. So if you're out there and you're ready, Dr. Brathwaite has something for you. She understands real life and the challenges that real people have, and she helps them on their journey to wellness. And let me just stop and say that's why we're here tonight. That's what Get the Backstory Live is all about. It is about our journey to wellness. It is about our journey to physical wellness. It's about our journey to spiritual wellness, to mental wellness, to social wellness, everything that makes us a whole and complete person. And she is founder of Skin Folk Therapy. For those afraid of therapy, she wants to show you why it's amazing. So let's meet and bring on the amazing Dr. Angel Brathwaite.
Thank you so much. I'm in such amazing company.
It is so good to see you all, ladies. Okay, so I'm gonna start this thing. Here's what I'm gonna start this thing off with. It is something, and I didn't even know at the beginning of the show that I was gonna start here, but it just happened to me today. I remember, I don't know, maybe when I was in my 40s, if somebody would call me ma'am, I hear, does somebody have their mic open? Can you until you speak? When I was in my 40s, if somebody would call me ma'am, that would leave me feeling some kind of way. I'd get kind of an attitude, right? And today, someone called me ma'am, and I actually felt good about it. I felt honored about it, right? And but here's the thing: I knew I was looking good, right? I knew I was looking, sexy at 65. So so the ma'am thing didn't bother me at all. So can we start with that? Can we start talking about how that sexy trail from 40 to 60? Anybody who wants to start?
Well, I'll start out by saying we're not our mother's 60s. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. We are not our mother's 60s. We are empty nesters. We're starting over in so many ways, sometimes in relationships, sometimes empty nesters. But all of the things that we expected to do when we got older, we are shifting that mode, and we're doing the darn thing. So that's why I wanted to highlight women in their 60s.
Wonderful. Anybody else?
Yeah, I like to say I want to take it from 40 to 80
Mm.
because I am 80 something. And not too much has changed for me. So I guess I'm really blessed that I did it then, and I'm still doing it now. And I'm looking forward to continue to do it because I'm claiming 100 plus. And
Hey.
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, I think
Snaps.
because I'm able to do it, to be me, to do me, that I'm going to make 100 plus.
So you know I gotta jump in right there because I'm totally with Betty, right? So I'm gonna take it to 40 to 70. She got 10 years on me right now. But at the end of the year, our mindset has changed in terms from 40, which I call the smackdown age. You talking about your changing of your life, moving over into perimenopausal, where I just don't give a damn anymore at 40, at 50, I don't give a fuck. You know, you get to the point where at the end of the day, I'm just going to really try to do me. Once I really get that empty nester feeling to go, because, you know, we were raised to take care of our children, to make sure they was all right no matter what, you know. But my grandmother told me at 50 years old. So as to Betty's point, she said we live, you know, up to 100 and something. My grandmother said 3 trimesters, with each trimester being 50 years apiece. And the second trimester is all you. So you get to do everything that you were supposed to do to make yourself feel good. So I'm over here really doing sexy. It's just that simple. And sexy really is that state of mind. So when you go from 40 to 70, you have to define what do sexy really means for you on the inside, as we started this, and understand you can't buy sexy. You got to be sexy, and it comes straight up from the inside. So I'm with Betty. I'm claiming what my grandma said, and I'm going there.
And you must have known that I was raised by my grandma. That's why I was able to say that.
Oh, you know, I love that, Candace, what you said. You can't buy sexy. You've got to be sexy. And, you know, I was actually thinking about that, the whole notion of what sexy is and what sexy means and all that earlier today. And I am going to ask you ladies what your definition of it is. But when I think about it, I think about the word sexy in terms of how attractive we are to the opposite sex, how attracted they are to us, either or, which way it goes. And what has kind of like come up for me is I remember in the past, you know, sometimes I would go like to the grocery store and I'd have on, my hair wouldn't be half combed. I wouldn't have on any makeup. I'd be in jeans. I mean, just not looking at all what I thought was attractive. And, you know, hey, let me holler at you. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for you to holler at me. You know, I'm not dressed. And so I would get attention, you know, when I think I'm looking grungy, and then I would get all dressed up, right? Tell me if this happened to you. You get all dressed up, you know, go out, go to club, whatever. I makeup, shoes, dress, everything, and no, nothing, not a zip, focus, right? And so as I think about that, there's a piece of me that feels like the connection between sexiness and attractiveness has something to do with authenticity and being real. And that not just men, but everybody is attracted to that. And so when you show up in a real kind of way, that's something that maybe piques somebody's interest, or they haven't seen it before, or they can see the real you. And I don't know if anybody else has had that experience when you just kind of you're like, you know, you're going to pick up your dog from the groomer, and somebody said, "Can I have your number?" The dog is
absolutely. I definitely see it. I'm a little younger, but I just hit 41. So my definition is definitely changing. I'm in my transition, and and seeing what it is. But I'm learning it's all about confidence and knowing where you are. Like you said, the sweatpants can do it if I elude that confidence and the idea that I know exactly what I want, I know exactly what I'm doing. And they feel it, they sense it, and you're getting a different vibe from people. So it's feeling good.
And I agree with you. It's who you are.
It's who you
not
are.
what you look like. And I'm going to tell you, when I go out, I expect somebody to say something to me. and if my family were here, they would tell you somebody does. And when my son was younger, he used to say to the men, "That's my mama. Leave her alone." But it's what you exude. It's your confidence.
Yes.
It's who you are, not what you look like. And you can look as you think beautiful, or you can look awful, but that aura, that light, that confidence just shines through, and somebody's going to say something to you. And I want you to know that it not only works with men, but women are attracted to you as well. And
Exactly.
I'm not sexual, but I've had women come up to me and say things to me, and I'm sure some of you have too, if your self is being shown.
Yes, and this is exuding that confidence, and I like how each of you have put it so far. And I am basically a shy person. So when I owned the boutique, I would dress all the things that I have in the boutique. I would wear them so people would come to me. So they would be, attracted to either what I was wearing, and that got me, my confidence level up where I could say what I wanted to say to them, or to lure them to my store or whatever. But it is all about that confidence that you have in yourself and feel. And, when you have that low self-esteem, it's nothing like getting a compliment. And that just like takes you to another level instantly. Because I always say, when you're wearing your right colors, you're going to always get, someone is always going to be attracted to you. And if you're wearing the colors that blend with your skin tone, for example, and you're always getting compliments in that particular color, sometimes wearing that color makes you feel good, because all day long you're going to get compliments.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with you on that. I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that, Sharon. Because I mean, sometimes I have a couple of outfits, and whenever I wear them, I get compliments. I might wear the outfit a couple of days in a row if I'm going to see different people.
But you know what, Michelle, what you were saying, like when you got on, and I'm gonna come absolutely all about the confidence, and for me, and being a master trainer and know how to just poise the body, so it's a matter. It doesn't matter what you have on. We talked about what's on the outside. It really is what's exudes from the inside. But to your point of why the dudes run up on you because you're looking like that. See, they see sexy in a whole nother level, because they figure when we are, dressed to the nine, we're unapproachable. But when we just come out in what they can create our normacy, they can sort of, for lack of a better word, get at us, right? So like right now, and I got on my church clothes, my work clothes, I'm in a gym, right? So I'm in my skivvies all day long. So of course, like you, I have men chasing me all over. So I'm all good with that. So I asked him one day, I'm thinking I look, because I'm gonna come up to you and ask you, I'm looking a hot mess. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" But here's what it is that when we are like this, we are, to use another word other than authenticity, right? I like to use nakedness, because when you got naked, you got nowhere to go. It's the bottom line. It's the true self. I think when we go out with all the embellishments on, we got to put on our eyelashes, the makeup, the heels, the whole 9 yards. We're just trying to add that in. That's not something that's attracted to them. That's for us. Most of the time, as we're dressing for other women, because just like Betty said, on any given day, stepping out of the house, I know somebody is going to say something to me. I know somebody gonna
Amen.
say something to me.
Right,
So,
right.
and that's that inner confidence that you coming on, whether it be a female that says to me, like Sharon sells color and clothes, I sell muscles. So I got them popping everywhere. So when I walk out the house, I sell muscles. So,
You know, so Candace, I wanna like kind of like pause the conversation where we are, because there's this theme of confidence that has come up, the theme of confidence in clothes and body and sexiness, and so much of my conversation, this show is like things that I see through my own lens after dealing with 40 years of struggling with obesity and morbid obesity. And certainly there were times during that 40-year period I wasn't confident about anything. And I know I'm not the only one. So, but if you would, Candace, talk about what happens with some of the people that you've worked with that have started to pay more attention to the fit and well part of being sexy, as opposed to where they were and where they ended up. Because I know for my own self, the confidence that I have now because of the change in my body has given me confidence in so many other areas of my life. And I certainly feel that, I'm sexier because of this confidence than I was for so many years.
well, there's two things that go along with it, because again, you have the media and then you have yourself, which I call our inner media or our negative committee that's really in our head when we talk about the things that's happening to us, right? So you got two noises coming in from side to side. So at the end of the day, the media teaches us, the world teaches us that when you're overweight, because I was once overweight, I was 240 pounds. So I know that feeling that you're talking about too. Before I lost 115 pounds, they tell us when we're like this, we don't look good, we don't feel good. So we start to believe that. So even as I lost 100 pounds, like you said, I lost 115 pounds, in 18 months, never got it back. And I was like, it's something to this, because I started to feel better. I no longer got sick. I got a sense of confidence, and then people started paying attention to me. Like, what is it that you're doing? So even dealing with my clients on a daily basis that they go to, and most of them come and they want to lose weight, and I think weight loss is like losing your keys. Eventually you're going to find it back. See, because if you don't come from another perspective, you're just going to be on that roller coaster back
Right.
and forth, because losing weight is the bonus to being well. So I literally take them on a journey of what it looks like to be well. So as I go through it, because again, I'm certified in a nutritionist, an emotional mastery coach, and a certified personal trainer. So I'm working from three aspects, because I believe you can't get your body tight till you get your mind right. So
Can we repeat that?
You can't get your body tight till you get your mind right. So once you work from that perspective, everything else starts to melt away, because a lot of times it's not how much you weigh, it's what's weighing you down.
Yeah.
So once we remove what's weighing you down and all those mental blocks that goes along with what you look like, what you feel like, to what do you want to do, how you going to get there, and here's a strategy that you can follow for the rest of your life. I still do the same thing now that I did 35 years ago. So this is a strategy that you can find for the rest of your life. And like you, Michelle, I'm a chunky 4. I'm always gonna be a chunky 4, simply because I like my curves, y'all. So that gives me the chunk, right? So you follow and do the same thing, but it does change your mind.
Yep.
About how you feel. So you go from that negative self-talk, because we do a lot of negative self-talk. So I take you from being worried about it from worry to workout to working it out based on how you talk to yourself and what it is that you want, number one, and what it is that you're willing to do to get there. So my clients say to me, I want to be sexy. What does that mean? You know,
Sex. Okay, sexy. What does that mean? So you put the question out there, Candace, and I want to ask. Dr. Angel, in your practice, right? In your working with your clients, we're gonna just like do like a hard left or right quick. What we're talking about being sexy over 60. What does sexy mean? What is can you explain that?
Absolutely. So honest, that is the first thing I ask them when they say, I'm here for sex therapy because I don't feel sexy, or I don't feel sexy enough, or I don't know how to feel sexy. First thing we got to do is break it down. What does that mean to you? What does that look like? Are you looking to look for it within yourself, or do you want the attention of others? Where are we? And like Candace said, we have to start with, how did you get there? How did you get to the point where you felt like you weren't sexy? Did someone say something to you? Did a trauma happen? Did you just believe this your entire life? So we got to break down why you feel that you're not. Because there's no way any woman walking on this earth should feel like she's sexy. Not at all. Not at all. So we ask, what do you want from that? When we say sexy, what are you actually looking for? Are you looking for the confidence? Are you looking for the date? Are you literally looking for the physical sex? So I got to know where we are for us to identify exactly what sexy is. Because my sexy is not going to be your sexy. Your sexy is not going to be your sexy.
So what are the answers that you get when you ask that question? What do people say?
Most of the time, it's about self-confidence. It's about your self-esteem. Most of the time,
it really is.
They don't feel it. They're like, I don't feel it. Whether they're comparing themselves to somebody else, or somebody is comparing, them to somebody else, they don't feel it. So we got to start and work within them. One of the exercises I love to do, I put people in front of a mirror. Tell me what you see. Describe yourself. And you can't use words that other people use. I want you to describe you. And honestly, it's so different when you tell people they can't use words other people use on them, because they started to believe what other people thought. And it wasn't.
And you know what, Dr. B, just to what you said, and just so we can move on with it, being sexy is not something that you're taught. I mean, as little girls and everything, we weren't taught to be sexy. So you don't have a foundation. You have all these limiting beliefs that what we think from back then that has already created the narrative inside your mind, and your picture is the reason why most people stop in front of that mirror being butterball naked and not understanding what sexy is not something that really, really was taught. It was taboo as we move forward. So we really coming up don't even know what sexy really is. We just thought it was sex or being with a man and things like that. It didn't have anything to do, with our grandmothers, our mothers taught it was about self-confidence.
Absolutely. And one thing I do is I take people through the ages. And when we start, from when we think back in history, we think about all the things, we look at like a Sarah Bartman, where she was literally made fun of because of her big behind. And then we go into this whole, brown paper bag test, right? And then we go into the whole hair, nappy versus straight versus curly versus this. Then you get into, your lips. Then you get into your nose. We didn't have a chance to even feel the sexy, because every time we were like, okay, I'm about to jump in, they was like, nope, I'm gonna go ahead and pick on something else on you. And we didn't have anyone at home saying, hey, you are allowed to feel good about yourself. You are allowed to feel sexy for yourself. It has always been something that we do for other people. So when women especially come to sex therapy, the first thing I say is, you have to do this for you. This is about your pleasure. This is about your idea of what you want. I don't want anybody who comes and says, well, my husband says, you're not doing that. Your husband is more than welcome to join us, but this is a journey you have to take. Because I can't define and he can't define what this means for you.
So is this? Am I hearing that the road to sexy is a road to self-esteem?
Absolutely.
Oh yes.
Absolutely.
And let me jump in. Let me jump in right here because, and I don't want you ladies to think that I didn't experience some of these things, but honestly, a lot of them I didn't. And so every morning when I got ready to go out to school, my grandmother would say, "Turn around, Betty Lou." That's what she called me. And I would spin around. She said, "Oh, you are so beautiful," every single morning. And I did the same with my children when they were coming up. I called my son my prince, my daughter my princess, and I told them how beautiful they were, how strong they were, how smart and powerful. Let me tell you what happened to me when I got to be 16. And I was looking in the mirror one day and I said, "Betty Lou, you know, you look pretty good, but you're not all that beautiful like grandmother told you." But it was already in my head. It was already in my head. So I think we've got to start with the children. We got to
Absolutely.
build that foundation because it is all about self-esteem and not just how you look,
Absolutely.
but what you think, how you act, how you treat other people. And I think that's the way to start. And I was just blessed that that's what happened to me coming up.
Oh,
Absolutely. I
what a
tell,
beautiful story.
and I
No,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say, I tell, especially parents of little kids, change your language. Stop
Yeah,
saying dark skin. Stop saying nappy. Stop
yeah,
saying wide. Stop saying these negative words because they're going to internalize them.
that's right.
So you have to change your language. And a lot of us, we didn't know to change our language. We just called it what somebody else told us what. But the moment your vocabulary changes, you're going to yourself and your kids and everyone around you start to embrace certain things because it's not negative anymore. So it absolutely starts with our generation. My son knows he is allowed to tell me what he likes, what he doesn't like, and I'm okay with it. Kids, you know how kids are. Kids, it hurts your feelings anytime.
Because they're so honest.
Teach him your words. Don't. It's not ugly. You don't like it, and that's okay. But I'm teaching to change that language because language really does matter. It really does.
So back to this, I want to kind of explore what you're talking about in terms of language and apply it again, unpacking this word of sexiness. So as I hear this, we've talked about it being connected, about it being about self-esteem, but I also get this sense that it's also about connectedness,
Mhm.
how we connect with one another, being attractive, but being how we are attracted to other women or to other men, and what that the energy that we create around ourselves to do that. It's sexy isn't necessarily a sexual thing. When you say that, you're not necessarily talking about something that's sexual. You're talking about more than something that's attractiveness or drawing people together.
And it can be a
Anybody
little
want?
bit of both because there's nothing wrong with wanting to be and look sexy in someone's eyes, your eyes. Some things that I do to build my clients' confidence is with my women, I tell them, wear lingerie to work under your work clothes. It
Well,
feels
see,
good.
I agree with you, Dr. B, because again, we can talk about our self-esteem and we talked about languaging and the things that we teach our children, but over here where we are, so when you get 40, 50, and 60, or either when you get 60, 70 years old, where your children is 40 and 50 and they gone, now it's time for you to get your sexy on. Like, what does that look like for you? So it's okay to have that feeling or have your juices flowing. But one of the things from the wellologist point of view, if you're out of order inside your body, a lot of the times when you having that negative self-talk, or you don't think that you are attracted to someone else, but mostly is that you don't think that you're attracted to you. So a lot of the times is that you have to have a love affair with yourself in order before you can even think about having a love affair with anybody else. We can all go have sex. That's an easy thing to do. But until you have that type of relationship with yourself, when you're talking about that connectiveness, but a lot of us, I need the women that I work with, they're not connected to themselves. You know, they're longing for somebody to love them and somebody to have really, you know, sex with them, or without having the booty call or the one night stands or whatever the case you may be. They're longing for that. But at the end of the day, is how you treat yourself. Just like Dr. B said, is that, you know, you gotta feel sexy. If sexy underwear do it, nobody know you got it on but you, but it makes you feel good. So when you're talking about what are you doing on a daily basis that gonna bring a smile to your face, is gonna bring a smile to somebody else's face, but you have to feel it from within. So for me, for connectiveness, I have a love affair with myself. Get up every morning, like Miss Betty said, and like, you are badass. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, you have to have that with yourself. So even when you're seeing a therapist, life coach, or whatever, those are some of the things that, how you gonna want love from somebody else when you don't love yourself? So I think that's the first connectiveness that you need to have. Other than that, you're just going to do the deed. You're not really getting that feeling, you know, that you want to have out of it, because you're not sure how to get that feeling from yourself. So for me, I'm going to say start with self first and then move on as you do that, because when you build up you'll start being, you know, attractive. You know, that man is going to come to you as long as you know what that is, like 6'4", black chocolate drop. Listen, you got to know exactly what it is that you want to go after.
Candace,
Yeah.
that you said a lot right there. And what kind of comes up with me is I was talking to one of my clients that had lost some significant weight. And what she said to me was kind of startling. And it was something along the lines, I'm going to paraphrase. She said, well, now that I've lost weight, people treat me differently.
Wow.
And what I heard with that was that you treat yourself differently. I mean, it was almost like she was saying that people treat her nicer. People treat her nicer now that she's lost weight. And there's a part of me that really feels like, well, what we do for ourselves, other people, it creates energy around us. And people start, you see your value now, other people can see your value too, and you couldn't see it before. So I kind of thank you for like bringing that into some clarity. But Sharon, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Yes, Sharon, I have a question for you. In your book, Embracing My Sexy 60s, and the stories, I want you to talk about some of the things that the women in your book, what they did, what they're doing to embrace their sexy 60s. What are they doing? What's coming up?
The books are really it goes from the gamut of someone starting out, had low self-esteem, in situations like what you're talking about, and how they built themselves up as they got older, or when they came into their 60s and realized, all of the assets they had. There's stories in the book about women who started from nothing and built something. There are stories about women who went through domestic violence and had to get that self-esteem back in order to save themselves. There's stories about women entrepreneurs, how they built their businesses and how they started. And it's just so many stories that we all have. And it's just telling your story. Your story, it may not be like mine, but I guarantee you, when you read the book, you're going to hear yourself in the book, because someone is going to tell your story. And anybody that tells you write the book or you have a story to tell, is so true with all of us, because we all do have a story to tell. And as I listen, I love Candace philosophy on how it really starts from within. But the way I used to do it, and the way I used clothing, for example, and colors, was that there's so many of us that don't have that within. And I say, okay, let's start with the outside so it can permeate inside, and then it can build your self-esteem, because once people come to you and put that on you, or say how lovely you look, or how lovely you how radiant you look today, because this color is really making you shine, or because color, when you put color up to your face, and if it's the wrong color, it literally puts lines in your face. It
Oh,
literally puts shadows in your face if you're wearing the wrong colors. So when you're wearing your best colors, somehow that light comes into your face. It lifts you up. Your face is not dragging anymore. And you would be surprised how that can actually build someone's self-esteem, just simply by someone paying them a compliment. And that's what I mean by, okay, yes, we can start with the outside if we don't already have it on the inside.
Sharon, I think that's important about, starting with the outside. But man, we have to continue the work, right? We got to start someplace, right? For sure, we have to start someplace. But I think about all the years. I think about all the years where I didn't have a full length mirror, right? I think about all the years when I never wanted to have my picture taken, that I always wanted to I wanted to stand behind somebody else. If I had to be in the picture, I never wanted to be in the front. Or I wanted to stand sideways to try to get my good side, whatever that good side was, right? And it is so different. It is so different once you start doing the work and going on the journey of inside, that things shift. But what I feel sometimes happens is that people get so focused on the outside, and they think that's enough. They believe that that's enough, and they get tricked that that's enough, and they think that that's the real thing, right? That they don't continue the journey. And
Michelle, it is a journey, and you do have to continue both inside and outside, because as you get older, things change, especially your body.
yes.
Things hang, things get bigger, and and if you don't love yourself, then you won't love the new you, because you're going to have a new you. I don't care how much exercise you take. Pardon me, Candace. You're going to have a new you. Those
Oh,
boobies.
no, no, no. Don't pardon me. Listen, I'm right there with you, because stuff hanging. I'm
Yeah,
like, why ain't somebody tell me after 40 what was going to happen to my body? See,
but,
because we don't talk about the
but tell
things that's going
yourself that you are now a Reuben woman.
Come on
You
now.
got
Listen,
the
I'm
curves,
just,
the
that's
butt,
it.
the belly, and that becomes sexy if it
Yes.
is pleasing to you. See, so as you go along, you've got to love yourself inside, so you can love yourself outside at every step of the journey.
You know what,
Yeah.
Betty? That is so good, because when you talked about the how your body changes, I mean, because at the end of the day, each decade we get a new difference in our bodies, from 30s to 40s to 40s to 50s to 60s. But like at the end of the day, Sharon, I just want to touch on to what you said. Yes, you have to start somewhere, because I believe that if you look good, you feel good. But goes to Michelle that says the work that still has to be done, because we're not going to stay there. If you're fortunate enough to create longevity in your life, because people ask me all the time, I'm a world contender in planking. I can plank for 4 hours. Like, why are you doing this? You're going to be 70 years old soon. Like, why are you doing this? And I simply say, because I want to get off the toilet by myself when I'm 100. Because you got to decide. You got to decide, like, as you move forward in what you're doing. See, most of us right now, especially, we're looking at the now and we're not preparing for later. See, because if you don't step up now, you're going to be a burden to somebody else later as it relates to your body. When you're talking about this sexiness now, we can do all of this now, but what's going to happen when you get 60? What's going to happen when you get 70 and 80 years old? And like Betty said, you know, I used to tease my sisters because, you know, they have big boobs, and here I got these little hard-boiled eggs. And my sister said to me now that she's like, she's 70 something, and she was like, you know, these things hanging down to my legs. So at the end of the day,
I got a doctor for her. I have a doctor for her that can help her with
but
that.
she okay with it. This is what I'm saying. She's okay with it. She's like, I'm 75 years old. I am so good here. You know, because I was just, when we were smaller, that's some of the things that we talked about. But when you to get older things, gravity is going to take its course no matter what. And see, when you talk about where the exercise come in, we can still have muscles up until we're 100 years old.
And we need them to have sex. And I
Come on now. Come on now.
Right.
Let's see, we don't get to that topic. Yeah.
We need them to have sex.
those muscles,
That's for
right?
sure. Come on, Betty.
They're coming in for sex therapy. They're probably about
Dr. B, will you scoot up? Will you scoot up some?
Yeah, absolutely. So most of my women who are coming in for sex therapy, they're probably about 45 to about 65. And just like everyone said, they like, it's not the same. They're like, how do I do this when my body doesn't work the way it used to work? So, you know, we talk about self-esteem, we talk about trauma, but we absolutely talk about how to physically do sex in your 60s. It's different. It's different. He's not picking you up like he used to. You're not folded like you used to. It is different.
Dr. B, they ain't got the right one. See, at the,
That's
end,
hey.
at the end of the day, let me come on in here, right? So it's a matter of, and I'm talking about the right one for you when you're talking about what it is that you want. So if you want to be picked up, tossed, swinging from the chandelier and all that stuff, you got to find somebody that's going to match your energy when it comes to that. So for somebody in their 60s is really coming up on 70, sex didn't go away. You know, sex goes away because you don't do what's necessary to want it. So
Be what you want to attract.
Exactly. Your libido goes away. And like, again, when we go through menopause, your libido goes down. 40 years old, we start going through that. But you have to really, really now, whereas before we didn't look into it about taking care of your body, you got to really take care of your body to keep your juices flowing. So you do have to have some movement. You do have to eat well. You do have to sleep, and you do have to hydrate. If you're not doing those things, I don't care what age you are, sex is going to feel like it's just not good. And if your muscles, like Betty said, if your muscles ain't intact, you got some incontinence going on, you got a whole lot of other stuff. You may be peeing on yourself and a whole lot of other things, but that comes with now you taking care of your body. So for me, trying to get to somebody 20, 30 years old, 40 years old, because 40 is different. 50 is definitely different. 60 is a whole new ball game. So, but as long as are you doing something to physically build your muscles? Listen, the cha is a muscle, the brain is a muscle. You have to do everything necessary to keep it in order for you to get what it is that you want. But you got to know exactly what that is and get the person that's going to match your energy. And most of the time we're mismatched when it comes to our energy and partners. You may want to swing from the ceiling and all he wants is missionary. So what we do is that we dummy down and we do that instead of moving up and doing what's necessary to get the feeling. It's all about the feeling that you really want.
Absolutely.
No, Candace, you talked about getting what you want. We have a few minutes left, but I want to also talk about not just getting what you want, whether, it's what you want in a sexual manner or in your health or whatnot, but, you said deciding. There's another place beyond deciding. There's another space beyond deciding. And the spot beyond deciding is understanding that you deserve it. And so people have to get to the point that they feel like we have to understand that we deserve good health, that it is for us, that the sexiness is our legacy, to be attractive, to be a confident, to be well, to be fit, all of that, that we deserve it, and to own it, not just to accept, well, now that I'm older, now that I'm retired, this is just, that it's just going to be like that. Like you said, this is not your mama's 65 or your grandmother's 65, but we still have that picture in our head of what that looked like. And so we have to be constantly reprogramming our minds and our brains about what our health, what our bodies, what our everything is like, and that we deserve that betterness. And I see you, Angel. Go on, jump on in here, girl.
When you said that, one thing that I teach women, especially to teach their daughters, sex is not something you give, because later on in life, when we think it's something we give or present to men, later on in life, we don't think we deserve it because it was never taught that it was for us. So I always don't tell her she's saving herself for him to give something to him and this is for her man. No, we both enjoy this. This is a pleasurable space for both of us, because what happens is, like you said, once we're 30 years married and we're done, we're thinking, okay, I'm done because this was for you. And you don't think you deserve it later on in life. So you don't do the things to keep you ready. You don't do the exercises. You don't eat healthy. You don't do all these things because you don't understand that it's for you as well. We've been taught for way too long that it's something we give to them. And it translates us not deserving it.
It is so good to hear that from you, Dr. B. Let me tell you, that right there, listen, that right there. But it still goes back to what you were taught. So now you're talking about that teaching thing, that limiting beliefs, as you're talking about to going. My grandmother, so we talking about it, like she was a sassy old woman, right? She would say, you know what, when you lay down, it ain't just for him. He got to make your sticky tingle too, or something. She would say to us. So you have to know that, again, coming from who taught it to us. Like right now, and I'm excited to hear you in your 40s and you're having that conversation so our younger generation can understand that it's not for him. This is something that's for us, and it's something that where we connect and we both enjoy it. And how do we get there? And again, Michelle, that I deserve to be there. This is not just for you. It is for me. So they won't have the problems that we're having as grown women to deal with our low self-esteem, our confidence, and thinking that it's for a man. Because my clients would say, I'll be like, why are you here? And sometimes they would be like, I got a man. They would be, I got a man now, so I got to look good for him. So even now, we're still stuck on that limiting beliefs that we only have to look good, we only have to be good or be sexy or start taking care of ourselves if we have a man in our life. So it is another generational chain that we have to break as we move forward. And my clients are mostly 50 and above. So it's not when you talk about what's going on. So I am like ecstatic that you're having that conversation.
Oh, and I'm excited about this conversation tonight, but I'm so sad that it's about to draw to an end. But I will tell you the biggest takeaway that I have gotten, and this is that being sexy, quite frankly, is about showing up for yourself. That's has been the biggest takeaway for me. And I know that if the audience, whatever takeaway you got, if it wasn't the same one I got, you got what you needed tonight. That is my hope. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank you all for showing up on Get the Backstory Live and just bringing your full authentic selves to this conversation. So we're winding down, but I want to give everybody a chance to share how anybody that's listening that may want to get in contact with you to learn more about what you do and how you do it and why you do it and where you do it. Just kind of do like a quick little wrap up. And we can start with you, Sharon, if you you want to just do a quick little how to get in touch with you, then we'll sign off.
Yes, you can email me direct at Sharon at embracingmysexy60s.com. Sharon at embracingmysexy60s.com. And I am working on volume 2. And if you are in your 60s and interested in being a part of it, please contact me.
So much. Miss Betty Merrill.
You can Facebook me. My name is Betty L. Merrill. And I also want you to know that I am working on a course. It's going to be called Everything You Need to Know About Your Pussy and You Didn't. And it's
why are we just finding about this right now?
My text is the Pussypedia. And I'm sure men will want to take this course as well as the women. So you'll be hearing more from me. So go to my Facebook page so you'll find out when I start this course.
Wait, I need to mute just to laugh at that. I'm sorry, Michelle, but I'm gonna have to give me the pussy media. Listen.
That's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. Oh. But anyway, Miss Betty, I love you. Let me just start out by saying that first, because I love the nakedness in all of that. So again, Michelle, when you talked about what's sexy, I really want to leave your audience with my acronym for sexy, which is start every day and execute your X-ray vision and stay yoked up. So that means who are you connected to? It's all from within, and it's something that you have to do every single day in order to be sexy, not do sexy, but be sexy. So I'm Candace Camille, the Wellologist. You can find me on social media at the Wellologist, and it's there on the screen, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me there. Also, you can go to sexyfitandwell.com to see what we're all about. Join the movement, because I'm all about being well and giving you the information that you need to be there. But one of the things about me, you can get all the information you want, all the education, all the motivation, all the inspiration, but without implementation, it will not take you to your next level. So find me so we can help you implement the sexiness you want to see.
All right.
Okay. Dr. Brathwaite.
Just want to say first, Miss Betty, if you need any teachers, please call me. I am 100% interested in let me know. But I am Dr. Angel Brathwaite, and you can find me. It's Skin Folk Therapy. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all under Skin Folk Therapy.
Thank you. And ladies, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm Michelle Petties. Anybody want to reach out to me? Michelle Petties at michellepettis.com. Thank you for joining us tonight on Get the Backstory Live. See you next month. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Get the Backstory Live. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Be sure and save the date now for next month. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And on October 17th, that's the third Tuesday in October, we'll be exploring, among other things, how being overweight or obese after menopause increases the risk of breast cancer. So stay close and stay connected. To join my mailing list and stay in the know, just scan the QR code on the screen. Yes, I'm social. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at I Am Brand New Now. And if your organization or an organization you know of is looking for a speaker, workshop facilitator, panelist, or host, reach out to me at michellepetisspeaks.com. I got you. If you would like to read about how I finally won my 40-year battle with obesity, exactly how I overcame stress eating, emotional overeating, and yo-yo dieting, reach out to me at michellepettis.com, and I will personally send you a signed copy of my book, Leaving Large, The Stories of a Food Addict. I will even cover the shipping. Finally, I want to let you know about my upcoming free webinar, because I see you.
because I know you. Professionally, you're always at the top of your game. But when it comes to managing your weight, that is and always has been another story entirely. I created this free webinar, Fit for More Than Success, just for you. In it, you will learn how to change that story. To attend, just scan the QR code on the screen. See you next month for Get the Backstory Live, right here on the Source Radio Network.